Hey there, welcome to the second HTS homework assignment, Learning Proper Squatting Mechanics. The squat is a basic movement that you see in a lot of fitness and strength training programs. However, when I look around, I see a lot of less than ideal squatting technique. A lot of times it's not just inflexibility, it's just lack of understanding the proper squat mechanics and proper anatomy for those to facilitate squat proper mechanics. With the squat, oftentimes we see the common error of people simply wanting to fold in half when they squat, okay? And that's not correct. There is a basic movement called the hip hinge that we do. That is the basis of your different deadlift exercise, but that's a different exercise. The squat exercise is different in the sense that your hips will drop down between your knees, between your legs, if you look at it that way, versus a hinging forward, okay? So the first issue we see is that people naturally select too narrow of a width to do their squats with. They'll select about a hip width. When you go just a little wider, heels approximately shoulder width, and then toes turned out 30 degrees. That's a good starting point. But again, this doesn't feel as natural to people, but as we get into the squatting mechanics, this does feel a lot more stable and more natural. So that's the first rule of thumb, is get your feet set, opened up, so your knees can open up so your hips can drop down below them. The next important rule of thumb is always keep your center of mass of your upper body or your upper body in weight directly over the middle of your foot. We'll demonstrate here with the wooden dowel. When I set this on my back, like a back squat, feet set, toes turned out, starting with the stick directly over the middle of my foot. As I continue to squat, I will always maintain the stick over the middle of my foot. So to start my squat motion, I will shift my hips back and therefore incline my torso forward so that stick stays directly over the middle of my foot. I'll need to consciously keep my knees open. Think about spreading the floor or pushing to the outside of your shoe to keep those knees open. Continue to drop the hips back and down between your knees. As I descend down, I'm developing a lot of tension in the hip musculature. At the bottom here, I'll get down and my knees will be tracking in line with my toes. My thighs are about parallel to the ground. As I come up, I initiate it with a good hip drive and then followed by a good leg drive to come up, okay? You can see that motion with the stick. Again, we'll go through those points here. Feet are set in the right position. Shift my hips back in order to maintain my balance, not feel like I'm falling backwards or forwards. I need to incline my torso forward, keep those knees open, consciously spread the floor, push the knees open. As I sit back to the squat, my head is staying in line with my spine. My spine is straight, stabilized, but inclines, keeping that weight of the stick in my body over the middle of my foot. I'll get down until I'm about parallel to the ground. The knees are tracking with the toes, and then initiate the motion with the hip drive, followed by the leg drive all the way up there, okay? So, as you can see, there are a lot of little nuances with the squats to get down. That technique may be different than we're used to. You'll need to practice it, but I assure you, I've seen it myself and many other clients, when you do practice it, you will feel more stable, you'll feel stronger, more stable, especially at the bottom of the motion and coming out of the hold, the bottom of the squat, and you'll naturally have more range of motion. So work on those at home. You can see body weight is pretty challenging, especially when you develop full range of motion and stability. You can gradually add a little weight, and then when you come back in here to HTS, you can add the barbell to your back and you'll feel much stronger and stable at your squat and make some good progress that way. So work on those and we'll see you in a couple days for the next HTS homework assignment. Take care.